everyone, it's Claire here, and today I'm going to talk about the different wash and care routines available for cloth pads. I am not going to do demos in this video. I will do one with my next period of my own personal wash routine, but I thought it might be handy to have a video that looks at all the different methods in one place so people can see what works right for them. There is no right and wrong way if each method is done effectively and following a few simple rules. So really it's whatever works for you and fits into your routine best. Now, the first routine I'm going to look at is wet paling. Now, this is where your pads are permanently kept in cold water until you are ready to launder them. Now, generally you would have a bucket or pail of some kind that you would fill 3/4 of the way with cold water. Then when you remove your pad, you pop your pad in face down, and that's how you keep your pads. Now, some people add things to the water, like some people add a scoop of Oxy, for example. Other people use completely plain water, or you can add essential oils to your water. Now, the advantages of wet paling is that it gives the pads time to soak and draw out all the blood. And by the time you come to washing them, you rinse them, stain treat any stains that are left, and then chuck them in the wash. Now, there are some misconceptions about wet paling in the fact that it causes bacterial growth and is unhealthy as a way of storage for pads. This is actually a myth and not true, as long as you follow the simple guideline of making sure you replace that pail water every single day. You're going to run into problems with bacteria and possible mold growth if you leave your pads sitting in the same bucket of water for a week with all those bodily fluids. So that's a definite no-go. When I first came to cloth pads, I wet paled and I just used cold water and a few drops of tea tree oil. Then I would replace that every day until I was ready to wash, which I did every 3 days. Then I would rinse each of them under the tap, stain treat, and put in the washing machine. And they always came out perfectly stain-free. So it's also a really good no chemical option if you don't want to use any oxy action, although you can add that into that routine should you want to. Another thing with wet paling that seems to be not everyone wants to talk about is the fact that if you do soak your pads in just plain cold water, the water that comes from your pads is very good for your plants. I know it sounds gross, but think about it. It's quite common to put fish bone meal and animal bone meal, blood meal, animal manures on our plants. There is a lot of nutrients in blood and plants react very well to it. So many people who like to garden naturally, organically, or have a lot of house plants do like to take some of that water and feed it to their plants. So that's another option for those of you out there that are very eco-aware and body aware. The next method is for those who are not at all bothered by staining whatsoever. Maybe you choose fabrics deliberately that don't stain, like synthetics or darker colours that won't show stains, or you're just not bothered by stains at all, in which case you can take off your pad, dry store it in a wet bag, and then when it comes to wash day, you just chuck them all in the wash with your normal washing detergent, and most of them will probably come out stain-free, but you are likely to get a few that do have stains, but you can then sun them or soak them in some oxy if you are bothered. So that's a really easy, low maintenance route there. Another option is to dry store your pads in a wet bag until you're ready to launder them. Then the night before, make up a big bucket of Oxy. I personally have the Vanish here as I've found that the best for me. Soak all of your pads overnight in the Vanish. The next morning, rinse them out. Add a little bit of stain treater if there's any remaining stains. Chuck them in the wash with your normal laundry detergent and any other washing you have. And hey presto, your pads are now washed. Another option is that some people do is wet storing in a dry bag. So basically you take off the pad, you rinse the pad, add some stain treatment, fold it up, pop it in your wet bag, and then again when it gets to wash day, you pop them into the washing machine. Now, my favourite method at the moment, which fits in really well with the fact that my health's so bad, is I have found for me a no stain way of using just the washing machine. I am someone that is bothered by stains, not because I think they're gross or they contain germs, because they don't. That's a misconception. Just because I like to keep my pretty fabrics pretty, and I pick my fabrics because they're pretty, so I'd quite like them to stay pretty. So Ellen, can you play in just a minute, please, darling? Honestly, I'll be just a couple more minutes. So where was I? Oh yes, my wash routine. So what I do is I take off my pads, I dry store my pads in a wet bag. Then when it comes to wash day, I take them to the washing machine, unpopper them all and chuck them in the machine. I then add a scoop of Vanish Oxy Action to the pre-wash compartment in my washer and press the pre-wash button to add it to my wash program. I then add a cap and a half of Halo non-bio to the normal laundry detergent compartment of my machine. And I add an extra rinse to my cycle as well, a rinse plus. Then I pop it on, and I have had them all come out completely stain-free using this method numerous times now. So that has really worked for me using, I think the key to that wash routine is the added pre-wash with the Vanish Oxy Action. Your detergent, you can pretty much use any detergent with this. So if you use Ecova or any of the American brands, etc. And I have not had them come out with a single stain. So that's another easy one if you have health problems or you just really don't have the time. While I'm here, a word on the Halo detergents I use. This is actually something which I found and have never looked back at. I actually found this when I was looking for something that I could use in the washing machine to kill candida, because I had a outbreak due to what turns out an allergy to the polyester fleece on some of my pads. And I could not get rid of it, and I wanted to make sure I was killing it on the pads itself so I wasn't reinfecting. And I contacted the manufacturers who said this does in fact kill candida at low temperatures such as 30 degrees. This, if you are someone who uses reusable nappies, this is cotton nappy safe, so that's another great reason to use it. It also has a really nice light scent, is great for sensitive skin, and kills just lots of bugs. So if you're someone who really doesn't like germs or have been put off of cloth pads because you're worried that germs will be left in your pads, they won't. As long as you use a good wash routine, nothing is left in your pads. But if you're someone who wants that extra reassurance and is just very germ phobic, Ellen, can you play with the paper in a minute? Very germ phobic, then this could be a detergent for you. Stain remover wise, I personally favour the Ecova stain remover. I have used the Fels Snapper bar, the Vanish bar, Zote, but for me, I can put this on a pad, leave it for half an hour, go back, and even the worst stain is gone. I have used this on old sheets that have had dry blood stains that I could not use anymore from when I was on disposables, and it's even taken that out. So I honestly have very high praise for this particular brand of stain remover. And when it comes to my Oxy Action, I have tried the UK pound store brands and a couple of the own brands in the supermarket. And for me, none work as well as the Vanish Oxy Action. However, that does not mean that an own brand or a pound store version will not work for you, as several of my friends use that version and it's just great for them. So it really does depend on the makeup of your blood and how much it stains and reacts to certain things. So definitely try out your different brands. So that's really a look at wash routines that are available to you. Not in great detail, but hopefully enough to give you an idea of maybe what will work for you if you're new to cloth pads, or maybe you're looking to update your method and try something a little less maintenance than before. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up below and subscribe. And that's it from me.